Day of August 2024 and right on time for K24's New Dawn. My name is Joel Chacha. Even as today we focus on the state of the nation. A lot of things that have been happening in the country, of course happening in the country, and that is what we will be focusing on this morning. In studio, I'll be joined by very key guest, that is the Honorable James Gakuya Embakasi, North Member of Parliament, Fanya Mambo Kinuthia, political analyst, and Odoyo Owidi, who is also a political analyst. We'll be focusing on the following. President William Ruto has hinted on an, of course, introduction, that is by drafting of yet another finance bill. Remember, Finance Bill of 2024 was withdrawn. Finance Act of 2023 was declared unconstitutional by the High Court, and efforts to have it stayed at the Supreme Court bore no fruits. And so, according to the Treasury Cabinet Secretary, non-contentious clauses in the Finance Bill of 2024 are set to come back. In fact, Eco Levy will be among the clauses that will be reinstated. But according to John Mbadi, the new Treasury Cabinet Secretary, by the way, they will not impose taxes on diapers and sanitary towels. Remember, they're seeking a whopping 150 billion Kenya shillings to cover the deficit that, of course, emanated from the Finance Bill of 2024 being withdrawn. We'll be focusing on that, of course, and on the reactions as far as the toll fees proposal by Kenha is concerned. In the world of politics, we'll be reviewing some of the, of course, President Ruto has been criticized for relaunching some of the projects that were launched by his predecessor, that is the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and also Ruto while serving as the deputy president. And today is also a big day in the world of politics, even as Azimio will convene with an agenda of purging out ODM, which is accused of being in bed with the government of the day. In the Senate, Meru Governor Kawera Mwangaza, for the record the third time, will be facing the Senate over her impeachment. She is accused of corruption, abuse of office, and incompetence. That is where our focus will be on today. But let's first of all begin with the newspaper review. This morning, the People Daily, which is our own publication here at Media Max, splashes that big war for old money. Big war for old money, succession. Families of prominent figures in the North Rift locked in legal fights over the assets comprising land, real estate, and billions of cash in banks. An image there of the late President Moi, Jackson Kibor, Mark Toh, Kipiego Cheluget, Edward Limo, and Jonah Ruto. That is on page 4 and 5 of the People Daily. Just to peruse it quickly. Family pain as descendants fight over prominent landowners' property. Last week, resolutions by lawyers representing the executors of Kenya's second president, that is actually Daniel Arap Moi, and the children of his eldest son, that is Jonathan, appears to have brought to an end one of the longest running battles for billions of shillings left behind by some of Kenya's richest men. The late Jonathan's children, led by his eldest, that is a son Collins Kibet Toretich, had moved to court seeking a share of their inheritance. They will, of course, left behind, or they were left behind by the retired president who died in February 2020 and filed in the High Court Family Division in Nairobi. Shows that actually that he left behind 931 hectares, that is equivalent to 2,300 acres of land and property in Kabarak, Nakuru County, to be shared among his 5 sons, that is Jonathan, Raymond, Philip, John Mark, and Gideon. The instructions were that the ancestral land be shared equally among the sons, who will later transfer ownership of their portions to their children. Last week, the court gave lawyer, one of the lawyers actually, the trustee, that is of the late Moi's will, the authority to manage and distribute the properties. Jonathan, who is a former rally driver, preceded his father in death, and his children accuse, that is the trustee of Moi's will. They're accusing him that, of course, of trying to disinherit them. So here, according to the People Daily, 2,300 acres, that is the size that the family of the country's second president, that is the late Daniel Arap Moi, have been caught over, which resulted in the ruling party by, that is actually according to the former president. And now the parties should proceed to enter a consent detailing how the property will be shared, a decision the parties consented to. The matter will be mentioned on October 7th to ascertain whether all the parties have signed the consent before it is adopted, paving the way for Jonathan's children to get their share of the inheritance. According to the lawyer Duncan Okach, who's representing the children, claimed that there were many other properties which were left out of the will and for, of course, which his client are entitled to a share. Hence, the need for an audit to establish the exact value of the assets expected to run into billions of shillings. This is what the People Daily highlights. Big war for old money. That is on the People Daily. Back to the cover page. Governor Kawera in third fight for her political soul. That is on page 8, as I had stated earlier, that she will today be facing the Senate for the record third time over her impeachment. She's accused once again of corruption, among other issues. Masi Mwai writes that embattled Meru Governor Kawera Mwangaza returns to the Senate for the third time today to fight for her impeachment by MCAs of alleged corruption, abuse of office, and incompetence. Senators are expected to sit today and tomorrow, that is on Tuesday, to hear the case against Kawera Mwangaza after they shot down an attempt to have a select committee determine her fate. The governor and the MCAs had until yesterday to submit their responses to the matter ahead of today's session, in line with the Senate's, with the Senate Speaker Amason Kingi's directions last week. Mwangaza is accused of illegally revoking the appointment of Virginia Miriti as Secretary of the Meru County Public Service Board without a vote of not less than 75% of all the members of the County Assembly, and in usurpation of the powers of the County Assembly contrary to Section 58, 4 and 5 and 59A of the County Government Act. Invitation to appear, said Kingi, and he is actually verbatim that the clerk is to issue an invitation to appear to the parties on Wednesday, that is on 13th. The parties to file the responses by Saturday, the 17th and August 2024 at 5 p.m. Now, the decision by the Speaker came after senators from both sides of the House ganged up and shot a motion, of course, that had been brought by the Majority Whip and Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale that had proposed 11 senators to investigate her removal from office and table a report to the House for either adoption or rejection. In the motion, Halwale had proposed that the special committee comprised of Hilary Sigeda, the Bomet Senator Abdul Haj of Garissa, Wahome Matinga of Nyeri, David Wafula Bungoma, Gloria Roba nominated, Karen Nyam also nominated, Boy Isa Juma Kwale Ediokech Migori, Shakila Abdallah nominated, she's also the Wiper SG, Betty Montet nominated, that is a nominated MP, and Beatrice Akinyi, who is also nominated. The special committee, according to Halwale, it still failed, but he said that therefore, pursuant to Section 33 of the County Government Act and Standing Order 80, that is 1 and B, or 1B, the Senate resolves to establish a special committee. But remember, that was since shot down, and so it is the plenary path where the Narok Senator Ledama Olekina supported the plenary way, saying this will allow the country to observe and see what is ailing the county. Will the Meru governor survive? And so that is the People Daily that was just highlighted. Kawera ouster debate, Mwangaza is accused of illegally, once again revoking the appointment of Virginia Miritia, Secretary of the Meru County Public Service Board, without a vote of not less than 75% of all the members of County Assembly. But senators have actually opposed the move, saying that the Mwangaza's removal, which is happening for the third time in 2 years, is special and requires to be canvassed in the open. That is the People Daily this morning. My director will be telling me whether I can now engage my guests who are already in studio. But back to our cover page of the People Daily. Inside Kalonzo scheme to kick Raila out of Azimio. Inside Kalonzo scheme to kick Raila out of Azimio. That is on page 7 of the People Daily. Kalonzo's catch 22 as Azimio dithers. That is the former vice president, who is also the Wiper Party, Kalonzo Musyoka, is a man at a crossroads, even as his allies pile pressure on him to vie for the presidency in 2027. The Wiper Democratic Movement leader finds himself in a dilemma over actually whether to remain in the Azimio La Umoja Kenya alliance or bolt out of the coalition to chart his own path ahead of the 2027 general election. With the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga apparently working with President William Ruto as he heightens his campaigns for the African Union, that is the AU Commission chairmanship, Kalonzo is in a delicate balancing act as he positions himself to lead the opposition and keep the Kenya Kwanza administration in check. Ahead of the 2027 elections, Kalonzo will today preside over an Azimio meeting expected to discuss its leadership in parliament after senior officials in Raila's ODM joined President Ruto's cabinet. Yesterday, they were in Embu. And so we'll see how that particular meeting will unfold. Once again, remember, we are now on the, on the daily's review. That is our newspaper review this morning. And as promised, my guests are already in studio. That is Odoyo Owidi, who is a political analyst. Honorable James Gakuya, Chair of the Trade Committee of the National Assembly, also Embakasi North Member of Parliament, just to help me dissect further what is on our dailies. Thank you so much for creating time, Odoyo Owidi and Honorable James Gakuya. And just to begin with Mheshimiwa here, People Daily splashes of big war for old money, where families of prominent figures in the Rift Valley region are locked in legal fights over their assets comprising land, real estate, and billions of cash in banks. We tend to see these, especially with politicians. How can politicians best deal with inheritance, especially for their kins?
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, viewers, wherever you are. And coming to Joe's question, how to handle matters to do with the defines of politicians in terms of inheritance. And I would like to say it's normal. It's like any other, because politicians are equivalent to any other human being, and therefore the tradition of inheritance is normal and equal. What one has to do is to take precautions, and because this happens where there is what we call polygamist wife, and it's only where there's more than one wife where this kind of problems occurs. And how to handle polygamy is prepare yourself early. Do not expect that you prepare yourself, because God does not give you any warning on when He will pick you from this world. So as early as possible, make sure that these families are not in one congested point. Make sure that you separate them in terms of your divides. If it is estates, either subdivide the estates or give them each his or her own estate. Therefore, put everything in what we call a will. And having done that, you have preempt these afterward kind of chaos. We have witnessed this even in Central Province, not only in Rift Valley. We have families of Kirima, which today they are not in peace. And also we have families like Jenga Karume. After they exit this world, then battles comes up. And I believe that we can manage this better, and this we can only manage it. Issue to do with the Jenga Karume. The problem is trustee. You leave behind trustees on your property. Trustees will power more than your family. Then this is a big problem, because how can you trust trustees who are not your family members and leave your family members to die when this trustee cannot release your what we call the resources to your family at a point of need. And at this point, I would say we as politicians, because it's like we have a problem that we cannot survive with a single wife, then we have a duty to make sure that as much as we add more, make sure that you add more, and make sure immediately you add one more, make sure that you separate also needs, so that actually there is no battle even after your exit.
Mm-hmm. And now to Odeya Widi, thank you so much once again for catching time on the running court battles that are now playing out day in, day out. And, you know, it revolves around very prominent politicians. And Honorable Gakuya here is warning especially of those who are polygamous. You know, in Kenya, we tend to have this tendency where, you know, especially for the wealthy families, in case, you know, they die, especially those who created the riches and wealth, there are court battles involved. As a country, is this something that we've really focused to cure, or there's no solution yet?
I think this is a matter for individual families to cure. The problem with rich people, they live like they will never die. My father, what he used to do is, when he had separate small properties, he would write his name and one of his sons or one of his daughters, so that what remains maybe is the nuclear land belonging to the family that would be subdivided finally. So that whenever he goes, at least somebody finds something to begin with as still battles goes on. But most of these people live like they will never die. They want to control the family in everything. When you have adult sons, you can share some of your wealth while you are still alive. You have this, benefit from it, let me remain with this is all that is enough for me. You can still control them while you are still alive. That is what Kenyans need to do. But the government doesn't have much to do because there are enough laws about wills. It is time that families with a lot of wealth share them out early. Mm-hmm. This matter of battles at the end of the day is not good for this country, but the government can do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm. And now back to our cover page that is on the People Daily on Governor Kawera in third fight for her political soul. Honorable Gakuya, she hails from the mountain. Previously, there were even attempts by the Deputy President to, you know, help the situation in Meru. But we are, you know, in less than 2 years, or, 2 years thereabout, there are attempts to impeach her. This is the third time that it has gotten to the Senate. There are other times that did not make it beyond the county assemblies. What do you have to say about Kawera's impeachment that will actually be today before the plenary in the Senate?
This is a similar case like what we witnessed from what we call the former Governor Kibwana and his county assembly. There was a serious battle, and finally it was salvaged because Kibwana decided that, in fact, they better dissolve the whole county and go back to public. But Kibwana's issue was a bit different because Kibwana was defending public resources because MCAs had a very big appetite of wanting to to eat what we call public money, and he was there to protect, and he stood firm that it better be dissolved rather than allowing the public resources to be misused. And coming to Kawela, Kawela and his third term impeachment, I still believe that actually she's missing something, because as a leader, you need also to sometimes do what we call wider consultation, because you need to know whether you are the one with a problem or whether the problem is your assembly. And in case you realize that actually you are the holder of the problem, then you need to sort your problem so that at least you can be able to work as a team, because there is no way any single governor can enjoy a free open check in the county government, because those who are entrusted by the Constitution to keep checking checks and balance under the county assemblies, and therefore there is a duty for them. And a wise leader is who manages his own in-house issues. And I don't think that it's somehow difficult for Kawera to sit down with the majority leader, including the minority leader, first that small team of leadership, and then try to win the rest of the hearts of the MCA. It is possible and doable. But that time, it means she also has a problem. And in this case, I would say that because those who suffer are the Meru residents, then the Meru residents at this juncture need to relinquish Kawela to the Senate. If the Senate decides the fate of Meru, it does not mean there will be any vacuum. There won't be any vacuum. Even today, if Kawela finds herself kicked out of that particular position, still there will be no there will be an election in the county government. What will happen is that the deputy will take over to the rest of the term. But I don't want to preempt what the result will be, because at this point in time, probably those allegations that are labeled to Kawela today will see the light of the floor of the Senate, and the Senate, after their wisdom, they will come up with a verdict. And that verdict is what will determine whether Kawela will survive or not. But even though Kawela today survives, what about the fate of the county of Meru? Because still, there will no relationship will still occur. The county will still be in a disarray when things are not moving, since the county and the management are not in good terms. And therefore, I find it the best way to deal with it is to find a way on how to bring them together and find a mechanism, a better way of surviving the rest of the term. I also wish to think that, in fact, if there has to be political witch hunt, which is hunting this particular governor. If not, then I'm not aware what is eating this particular county.
You know, Kawela Mwangaza is on the spot. You know, not once, not twice, and this is the third time that she's actually making it to the Senate. And even the path that now the Senate has chosen in terms of going the plenary way and not the committee way, the 11-member committee. First of all, will this now perhaps get to the deeper issue of this particular impeachment, or the committee way would have at least been better? Secondly, is it time that the president dissolves the whole Meru county government?
I think that would probably be the best, but let us look at the Meru County and Kawera. This is the third time Kawera is going to be on the chopping board. And as a politician, I would have expected her to solve this problem after the second one, because now you know the problem and you know who is carrying the problem. But as Mheshimiwa was saying, it is most likely that there is somebody very powerful who wants her out. And it is also possible that she was elected with MCAs who are not on her side from the beginning, ab initio. And that's why this thing keeps recurring despite talks despite it having failed twice. And these people seem to be so determined to get her out. I would have expected her to find out which individual MCAs has which problems with her. So you go for them and you go for the problems and you agree that if this is what you want me to do differently, let me do it your way. If this is what I ought to do this way, let's do it this way. However, to save the people of Meru, I think it is now time that the Senate let them have their way. Those are people they elected. If they have chosen to have somebody else on that seat, let them have it. So be it.
Well, at that juncture, we take a short commercial break and we come back. We'll be still, of course, focusing on what is on our dailies this morning. We're still on the People Daily. We'll be touching on what the Star, the Standard, and Taifa Leo have also splashed this morning. But keep the conversation going via social media platforms at K24 TV, George Chasha as well on the SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of their screens. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
The biggest reggae and rhythm show ever on Kenyan television.
You are a ganja man and you wanna forget. Tell them nothing about
Juggle with the reggae boys. Okay, you get that new class.